internet again, you guys. All yours, Maddie.
Back.
Sorry, hold on. I have to log into my AOL account. Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for coming back.
It's you specifically, Kid Cryptine. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Love you. Appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
Always happy to see you. So, last week, some things happened. Actually, yeah, 2 weeks ago. So, well, you guys reunited with Ua Ebe very, very briefly before she went to be reunited with Papa Ebe. You then met Etivara, the person who is leading the army under your direction, under your command, Adraxa, commander of the armies of Ember. About which you don't know too much, other than that they are here to aid you. Now, what then happened was you got a message from Warren telling you that it was time to head back to the council chambers to meet, because she was trying to go over some things, and Brunin and Warren were being rather horrible at leaving messages for one another, kind of like a game of phone tag with message. So you eventually went back to the council chambers and met where they were deliberating over some matters concerning what was it, the replacement of Weija.
Mm-hmm.
They were also discussing different threats and things and plans for what to do, evacuations, brief mention of something called the Exodus Protocol, something that would allow people to leave the city. You found out some more, discussed some other issues with what was coming, and it was at this point that everyone was obviously panicked about the fact that there was another army showing up out of nowhere, the sky literally falling, when they found that it was most unlikely a source, Adraxa, who was now leading this army. You guys, Brunin decided to sneak out to go and check on the Feather House, but almost incited a riot like twice. You ended up coming back in, and were told that there was some kind of a disturbance happening at the brass tower. You quickly departed and went to go see what was going on, after which you saw that the rings were spinning while the Daresh Kalgresa joined you, along with a kind of cadre of other guards and soldiers.
Thank the gods.
Yeah. She said with a Boston accent. So you went to flew over the city, and soon enough dodged a bolt of some kind of energy that blasted past you. And it was at that point that you saw what could have very easily been a TPK. The rings were spinning incredibly fast, and that's when you realized that it was just 4 mind flayers doing something to manipulate the rings. You immediately jumped out of the shuttle that was flying over and began to assault them, making pretty quick work of the Mates of Fate. The mind flayers had you guys just about dead. At one point, there was almost like guaranteed it was going to kill you, Brunin. Then Daresh Kalgresa was pinned down and, almost had his brain eaten out. Adraxa and Sarah were both stunned, unable to do anything as they hit you with a psychic blast. Oh God. You just
we remember.
A minute-long brain freeze. You then, in a wonderful turn of events, the mind flayer was about to eat Zera, had just latched on, was just about to. The guards piled out, ripped it off of her face, and she snapped out of it in just a moment. Reached out to, she called out to Lysaea, her goddess, and somehow rolled a 4 out of 100, which was incredible. And you immediately found yourself in your goddess's domain, where she was pleased with you. And you then asked for something very modest. Strength to pull through, to do what needs to be done. She granted it. And you came back to, and a couple things happened then. You, again, had all your spell slots back, which you used to immediately, oh yeah, no one else was stunned. That was the other thing. You got your spell slots back, and then carved off a bit of the building with your last thing, casting spiritual weapon at really ridiculously high level.
Yeah.
Killing the mind flayer that was trying to turn the rings. You also, at the end, one other thing worth noting, as you guys also woke up and immediately helped to kill the remaining mind flayer. Zara is now glowing with...
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Zara is glowing, as she is now Zara the Ascendant.
What color?
Oh, well, I would say,
Gold,
sort of
white,
a-
purple? I gotta know.
gold. Sort of a, I would say, when you heat metal at a certain point, it gets from cherry to, like so dark cherry to orange to yellow to almost white. I'd say it's at that straw color between yellow and white.
Oh,
Dope.
Zara, are you gonna
So,
do that at night when we're trying to sleep?
Uh,
Right.
one other thing worth noting. As I mentioned before, while the rings stopped moving so much, they are ticking now.
They're ticking.
Very subtly, like they're sort of jittery. Like before it was like this fluid, constant motion that more or less mirrored what was happening with the mind flayer's hands. What you now see happening, something that seems almost like a stuttering sort of jump in movement.
So, going into this, like Adraxa was kind of able to sense an evil presence. When she like reaches out for that sense again, is it gone? Like, does it really seem like there's no more here right now?
Yes.
Okay. I think we need to take those things down.
yeah, we definitely need to get to the center of it, right?
Those rings, they're massive.
I know. I'm not saying it will be easy. I'm saying that they need to come down.
Belgressa looks. There's a mechanism around here. Aesosith knows it better than anyone. We can get her here. She can try and stop them.
Do we have time for that?
I don't know that we have a choice.
Do you know,
Get her back here.
do you know where the mechanism is?
It's on one of these towers. I'm not going to touch it.
I mean, how hard can it
Why?
be? We could just smash it.
I studied here. Trust me. I'm not comfortable touching it.
Why?
It's beyond me. The reason she's the Arch Scholar.
Is it what is it, button, a lever? What?
Far more than
Switch?
A toggle?
God damn it. No. It's Cytronic drive. It's hard to explain. Get in the shuttle. Let's go back. My head is killing me. As you remember seeing, Duresh has this bloodied circle on his forehead.
Yep.
He, before he goes, he looks down and then just, grabs the Illithid by the tentacle and drags it behind him, tosses it down onto the ledge beside him. And, calls out to the guards, "Load that in!" and say, like, I'm not touching it. Load it in. All right. One of them goes, oh, God, sir. You don't mind me saying, you look like shit. He just looks at him, shoots him this glare, and then smiles and says, listen, Corporal Jensen, sir, we get through this. I want you to go to the lens shapers. Get yourself a set of glasses. I look fine. And he hops into the shuttle, kicks back, and, downs a potion. The other soldiers give a gruff sort of like chuckle, slap Jensen on the back, and then he's like, all right, who's helping me? You got it, Jen. Ah, fuck you.
So we didn't regain any hit points from the divine intervention, right?
No, you're all hurting.
Yeah. All right, I'll climb into the shuttle, just like trailing blood behind me.
Same with Vernon. Vernon's looking pretty. He's limping into the shuttle. Can't get like one leg is stiff. So you have to like kind of like pull himself over.
Soldiers looks at you. Oh God, they really did a number on you. Yeah, you what? He reaches into one of the side compartments, pulls out a potion. Yeah. Just grabs another one. There you go.
I don't need it, I'm fine.
Yeah. Drink up.
I mean, I don't want to hurt your feelings, so,
You hear that?
What kind of potion?
Didn't want to hurt my feelings. She didn't look like this sensitive type to me.
I don't want to be rude, so,
Potion of superior healing for both of you. It's good stuff.
Excellent. What do we roll for that?
Wait, do I get one? I'm at 20 health.
Yeah, I'd say there's 3. So after some scrounging around,
Very
I
counting.
think we're out. Look, did you check the other side? Oh, that's right. Yeah, funny thing about these ships, they have a left and a right.
I believe it's got a port and a starboard.
8d4 plus.
At that, like, one of the pilot of the ship goes, whoa, look at this one. There's a way around a boat. Look at that. Jaresh says, back to the council chambers now. We don't have time. I said.
29, not bad.
And, yeah. The ship lifts off, and with the Lithid there sprawled on the floor kind of at your feet. It's kind of a sickening sight. One of the, as the ship lurches upwards, there's a part where your stomach just kind of turns. Make a constitution check, whoever's sitting. Well, yeah, I'll say Adraxa.
All right. 13.
Okay. You're okay, but it's like a little, whoa, the potion, and then like has that like super sweet taste, and then seeing the like the mind flayer, and you just see the blood and the, it just kind of, yeah, you're good. Soon enough, he levels out, and you're fine.
All right. I am fine.
I thought that you were going to be gone. All of you, you just were stopped there. What did they do to you?
I have no memory. I was fighting and then I woke up and Zara was glowing. I do not know what happened in between.
Here you are. He hands you a handkerchief. You have a bit of blood on your nose.
Thank you. Zara, why are you glowing? You look incredible.
That is a great question. I've never glown before.
Well,
are you burning? Are you injured?
I would say this. Make a religion or intelligence check.
Religion.
Okay.
Okay, 21.
Oh yeah, okay. Almost would be like more like culture check, but what you know about ascendants is that ascendants are people, they're collectively called ascendants, all the people who made it from the Night Hells up out of the Underdark. Most of them started to glow at some point in their lives. Some of them were glowing before they ever left. Others later on. Some of them never get to that point. A lot of them never get to that point. What it comes down to is you now have the sense of what it is, the glow. People always talk about it. It's at this point when you no longer feel that sort of doubt. It's when you come into this sort of conviction of who you are, and those feelings of self-doubt dissipate and something stronger comes up from it. At that point, now you realize, now you know it. You've heard the stories of it, different accounts on what it was. A woman giving birth to a child, a man who left his employer one day and suddenly came to feel a glow. And for you, it was that moment of calling out and finding yourself grounded in your faith. It comes down to your glow is finding yourself. So, putting that into words.
Yeah.
Make a charisma check to see how well you articulate that.
Ooh. All right, let's see how this goes. 5.
Okay. Between the roar of the engine, the wind, and then like the discussion of the soldiers and everything, you're trying to, in this new feeling that's overcoming you. It's that feeling of like warm fuzzies just all over. And you're like, I don't know. It's so glowy. It happened, and then you know what I mean? And
so you are
Draxon,
not
you're just...
injured? You are or not injured?
I am. The glow did not injure me, but I am still injured from the mind flares. Like the first thing when I snapped out of it was just face full of tentacles, and I was like, ah!
Guard next to you says, I thought you were on fire.
I can do that too.
That's pretty cool. I'm glad you're not on fire. If you saved my life, then thank you for saving my life again. That's cool.
Yeah, that was
like, did nobody see the fireballs that I cast?
I don't remember anything, man. I'm sorry. I don't even know if I got a hit in on that fight.
We jumped off the ship, and I just...
Guard with a handkerchief says, I saw them. They were good.
Thank you.
Quite a mage. You should consider the cathedral.
It's been a long journey here. Long time in coming.
I didn't know you still use spells. I thought you were more just,
Stabby, yes.
A little bit of both, Whatever I'm feeling.
Perception check.
Whom?
Anyone.
Okay. $24.
Nice.
9.
Right.
15.
Okay. Broden, you're engaged in the conversation as we use there. Adraxa, you see something. Rather like it's pitch black right now as the sun is now fully set. And it's almost like you see something high up. You hear this sort of sound. There's a bit of a moment of laughter from the, others. And you see this thing coming closer. Closer. Fast.
What the fuck is that?
What's what?
That!
Where?
I need everyone to make a dex save.
Oh, wait. I have advantage on this because of my thing I never get to use.
Oh yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, because I can see it for once.
17.
18.
13.
Okay, so you're all okay. However, it's this... As it gets closer, you hear this sort of whirring... And then you see this thing falling, almost like a... Oh god, like this small contraption falling out of the sky. And it's about the size of maybe like a breastplate. Maybe like almost looks like a falling piece of scale mail or something. And it strikes down, hitting the pilot, cracking through the ship, which now starts to dive.
Oh shit!
Spinning.
Pull that thing up.
Can I try and jump in the pilot seat?
This
Am I
is
close
where
enough?
no, that's what the deck save was for. Just see how you guys handle this as it happens. Now, the ship itself cracks into the side of a building. You hold on as quickly as you can, and it then lands on its side, battered, broken. With the deck save, you guys managed to leap out, along with, I'd say, half of the soldiers.
Oh shit.
Jaresh is pinned underneath as he couldn't quite make it. His leg's broken.
Oh no!
He's
He's such a strong man.
starts to like pull himself.
We'll run back to the shuttle and try and help him.
All right, make a strength check.
This is what I do. But I'm so
I'll give you
tired as the
guidance.
thing's so 6.
It's a massive shuttle. It's not just you. Like you try and lift it as much as you can. He's just no, it's worse. That's worse.
Brunin steps up as well to try to help lift the car off Daresh.
Yeah.
He tries to lift.
Make a strength check.
First he breathes out though, and he looks at Daresh and goes, "We'll probably have to cut him off."
Probably.
He just looks at you like hell.
Okay, hell. All right.
Do you want to help or not?
Goes back to it. Strength check.
I'll give you guidance. So you can add a D4.
Some of the guards the two guards that made it out. Two of them at least. One of them is still like still clutching at his side. He seems like he's hurt.
Come on,
Looking at-
Adraxa.
All
Lift.
right, go with
So
your legs.
roll
this
with
time.
advantage.
I
With
give-
advantage.
Oh, okay, I was gonna give Bardic Inspiration, but yeah. Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right, not bad. 16. Oh, with advantage, you said that's right.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was his advantage. Ignore mine.
It's sorry.
17.
And add a D4.
21.
21. Yeah, 21.
I got 21 total with the D4 on advantage. Yeah.
That will do it. Okay. As you just, and then just there's this moment as you just clean it straight over your head.
Yeah.
And which isn't a lot. You're a halfling, so it's still not, it's only about like 2 feet off the ground. But
Somebody hasn't skipped leg day. Well done, you.
but it's enough. Your back starts shaking as this thing is heavy, and even though the guards are helping you, it seems like you're at that point where you're bearing most of the load. And it's enough that Kogresha is able to pull his legs free, and then you drop it. The other guards that were there were dead, cracked into the side of the building.
Are you
He
able
looks
to?
at you.
Are you able to stand?
No,
Here,
no, it's not.
can I cast some healing on him? I don't know if that'll fix his bones. Maybe it will.
What are you using?
Just to cure wounds.
Yeah.
I'll
How do I do this?
Apparently, in my inventory, I have a javelin. So while Zara's doing her spell casting, I'll get up my javelin and start like splinting his broken leg.
All right.
Make a perception check.
Which of us?
All of us.
No, you're doing the splitting of the leg. So yeah, just you, Brunin.
13. The old +0 on that.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
It's a dark. So
We're not at war.
we're with a 13. What you can gather is that you're in the city. It's what you remember, kind of thinking about like the flight and where you were. You're maybe about 2/3 of the way there, maybe a third. somewhere around there. It's hard to tell. It's a big city.
And where exactly were we going again?
You were trying to head back to the towards the north, towards the council chambers by the Tower of Bone.
Yeah,
towards the northern stretch of the city. You don't recognize this particular neighborhood. Not with the 13. No, in this light.
Okay.
Do we just go ahead?
20 healing. I cast it. Third level.
Okay. Are you trying to heal both legs or one specifically?
I'll focus on one first.
Okay. All right. With 20 points of healing, focusing on one leg, I'll say that's enough that he can stand on it. But he's still in considerable pain, as there's definitely some fractures even with that still in the leg.
Let's have another go at it.
So it's enough that with 2 of the guards helping, he's able to hobble. But yeah, so he looks at you. There's no time. Don't worry about me. Take this one. Jaspers. Are you ready? I can help it. All right. I want you to go with Jaspers. Jaspers will take you back to the council chamber.
Aye.
You have to warn them.
Okay. Stand strong. Jaspers, let's go.
Listen, he reaches out, grabs you, Adraxa, by the arm. We don't have time. Tell them my vote is for the Exodus Protocol. You understand?
Aye.
Jasper, carry my word as well. And takes off a trinket from around his neck. He hands it to Jasper. He kind of looks down. He says, are you certain? Fine. Very well then. Follow the light. Follow the light. And goes down. Right, he starts to walk away with you. You see Jasper fix the necklace around him. Perception check, one of you.
Yes, please.
Or actually, history check for you, Adraxa, if you want.
Okay.
Well, I'm rolling really bad at perception checks.
Yeah, same with me.
Well,
8.
that's a 1 on my history check. But did the trinket look similar to the trinket I have around my neck that I got from our friend?
With a 1.
Well,
You can't.
did I perceive it? Like, I'm wearing it right now. I don't need to remember.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right. Fair enough.
It's fine.
All right. Fine. The answer is yes. Okay.
Okay, but with a 1,
there is a resemblance, but you don't know the significance because Adraxa would not know the significance.
yeah, with a 1, I'm
You
like,
as-
oh, neat. They have matching necklaces. Let's go.
All right. Yeah.
It's probably a friendship necklace.
Yeah. So, you then start to hustle through the streets, Jasper in tow. Actually, Jasper leading you. He's jogging at a fairly, brisk pace. Actually, make an athletics check to see how well you guys are keeping up.
This is what I do.
Totally got this. Totally got this.
-1, let's go. Oh,
21.
I got a natural 20.
Nice.
-1 to 19.
All right. Something about the glow, it's almost like you're lighting the path just as well. And it's kind of like they're kind of like staying out of the way so that they can see everyone can see where they're
Crazy
going.
glowing lady incoming.
Yeah,
Move.
you guys are all keeping up just fine. Jasper is leading you quite well.
Even with my 7.
Oh yeah, no, not you, Bruno. Sorry, I thought you said 17.
No.
Okay, yeah, no, with a 7, you're just fell, crash. You're still like tired and hurting, and like your halfling legs just lifted on shuttle, and you're there.
Yeah.
Her poor back.
So you're hurting. You start to lag behind.
Brunin pulls out as he's trying to keep it, pulls out the long pipe from his backpack and like throws it aside. I gotta stop smoking those things.
Okay. Oh.
You've been focusing on leg day. You're skipping cardio. That's the problem.
You throw it almost immediately, like some like street urchin just picks it up.
Scuttles away.
Yeah. Okay. You keep running. Because Burden, you're kind of out of it. I need Atraxa and Zera to make a perception check.
Okay, roll higher than 5. Higher than 5. There we go. 20.
Also 20.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
With that, you hear another whirring sound coming up from high. This one, and then you hear a scream, and then the sky is just alight as from the rooftops above you, you see this volley of firebolts pelting this thing. This enormous explosion and bits of steel fall down around you. You see one of them. Well, what bits remain of it on the ground, a little bit away from you.
Does it look like First Legion?
What's that?
Does it look like First Legion?
Yeah, does it look mechanical?
Yes.
Do
Yeah,
they
I'm
have
not gonna make you roll
flying
for that.
machines?
It does. So Jasper kind of looks. Well, it begins. All right, we need to keep pressing on. Be on the lookout. I don't know where they are. They'll probably send more of them. Okay. You continue running. At this point, it gets to a windier, tighter alley section of the city, which I'd say at this point you're starting to get a bit more familiar. This is close to where you first walked into the city. That section that was actually really beautiful. You can see parts of the kind of open plaza with the courtyards where there were musicians playing, you know, lots of greenery and hanging gardens, aqueducts hanging high. You can see that through glimpses from the alleyways that he's taking you through. Jasper seems to know the city much more intimately. The closest thing it reminds you of is Hoglo. How well the kid knew. Makes you wonder, you know, what would have happened with him? Maybe he would have made his way into being a guard. Maybe. Footfalls carry through the city streets, cobblestones, some of them still damp even from the, well, hopefully from the rain and not from what else might be tossed out of windows, the alleys, back ways of Higrishil. You don't care. Your feet patter. You're tired. At this point, you've been running at a steady pace. I need you guys to make Constitution saves.
$22.
Okay.
5.
Okay. Zara, you take on 1 level of exhaustion.
Oof.
That's not good.
As you're trying to keep up, but maybe keeping a bit too hard of a pace. You're in all your adrenaline and newfound excitement from and vigor suddenly starts to wane as you feel a reminder of, yes, you're still very much, you know, mortal. You're still, you know, going to have to use your lungs to move.
Glowing literally burns energy.
Yeah, yes, it
Oh,
does.
it's so cool.
Worth
But it's worth it for the cool
Yeah.
points, yeah. Yeah, so you press on. Brunin keeping a relaxing pace. It's like, you know, he's not burning himself out yet. So you press on. At this point, you start to find a neighborhood around. You remember seeing Gene Salton and Sandalstone Scribes. Such a wealth the city has. Not just its treasures and buildings and history and everything, but its people. Start to think about it. Just, what, a week, 2 weeks that you've been here, and all of these people. Only a handful or so that you've met. But all of these people. I have no idea. You think about what, well, you think about what, 2 things. One, what Daresh just said about the Exodus Protocol. What does it really mean? 2, You remember what Zara had discovered using legend lore on the building itself. How much time? How much time? You think about how quickly the spheres were spinning. What were they doing? What were they trying to make them do? All these people. You continue on. It's not much farther. Maybe another mile. From here you can actually see the Tower of Bone. You can see the... What's that? Another series of volleys of fire fly up in the air. Almost like fireworks going off. There's just a clamor of awe and people gasping, and some of them start running. People are, slamming doors and trying to shutter into their homes. Others are running through the streets. Chaos starts to ensue. And then, through the firebolts cast up, through the bursts of light you see above, you see a few shapes start trickle through. Land. There's this sort of sudden thud against the ground, and then this massive hissing sound as the small plaza up before you, surrounded by stalls and shops during the day. You can see the tents, still some of them with the goods on them, most of them cleared out. You can see most of it's becoming obscured as this bit of steam hisses out. So, you hear screams and shouts, shapes starting to move through the steam, raising what looks to be swords. Others, you see shapes that look to be insect-like. One of the threatening-looking shapes leaps onto the back of what you assume to have been a person fleeing. This is happening probably about 40 feet away from you.
What does it look like?
Chaos.
What
Firebolts come down, miss. More whirring sounds from the sky. Firebolts turn their attention back upwards.
What does the creature look like that just hopped on someone's back?
Make a perception check.
Can Bruno make one as well to see what he sees?
Are they still centralized in one area, or are they just spread out?
11.
6.
They're centralized mostly in one area.
I ain't seen shit.
Okay. The mist and clouds are just still too much. And what were the other two?
Oh, I have to
11.
11 and... Alright, let's do this. There's...
12.
Disadvantage.
Yeah, because I'm exhausted.
12, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, it's enough that you're able to see some of the things. Well, you're able to make out what looks like this. A second, if I can...
And sorry, I had to make a phone call real quick, but it sounds like what I missed is we were making our way towards the
you were running
towards the council, and these creatures started attacking.
Yeah, so some creatures
okay.
broke through the kind of flak and everything that the army of embers was laying down above you, and some creatures managed to find their way through, crashed into the ground, let out a burst of steam, and then some things started climbing out, attacking. You're close to the council chambers. You see people are already running. 1 second. I mean, I can drop it in the chat, or I can drop it in Fantasy Grounds.
Can you drop it in Fantasy Grounds? Because I don't know how to pull it from the chat.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
And we'll just hope this works.
to get into Fantasy Grounds. All right.
Or you can watch the stream.
Oh yeah, good point.
It still says loading, so we'll see how this
All
goes.
I do, Ash, is just save it to your desktop and just add the image in OBS. That's all I do when he sends it in Discord.
I can drop it in the chat.
Whatever you want to do, though.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try that while it's loading. We'll try both.
I hate it.
Thanks.
Actually, I kind of like it.
Oh, yep, that's a. It's kind of.
Very
kind
cyberpunk.
of cute.
Not
I
cyberpunk,
don't
very
like
steampunk.
its weird little forcep arms though.
Yeah. I don't like what I feel like that might do to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very steampunk.
Dig it.
So that is what you see currently having latched onto someone's back.
Alright, well, that's way too much for to be streaming right now. That's my bad.
It's all right.
I'm learning.
It's all good. So to describe it in words that people can actually use, because at one point, you know, Gary Gygax and them had to actually use imagination and language to, you know, create worlds. So what you see looks relatively like a shrimp, made out of brass and steel and a number of instruments, assorted appendages and things like forceps, right? Like coming off of the front of it, a single lens-like looking shape in front of it, and a few legs set up using clockwork mechanisms. The creature is probably about 1.5 to 2 feet long, large, and looks fairly pesky.
Pesky. How does he look?
Yes.
He looks pesky.
Hard to say, but
Yeah.
like I wouldn't necessarily want to cuddle with it.
Could I just toss a fireball in the center of that steam cloud?
You very well could, yes.
Yeah, I don't want these things spreading and latching onto other people.
There's civilians in there.
Yeah, but the shrimp things are gonna kill them.
It would be hurting civilians.
I mean, our current plan is we're going to abandon all of these civilians.
This Jasper says, I don't know if they're worth our time. We have to make a choice.
Stick to the mission.
Alright.
Kind of looks, tries to fire off a shot.
We have
Let's see.
orders.
Straight to the council, yes?
Fuck.
Aye.
All right.
As we're running by, can I at least try to make a pot shot at the one on that guy's back with a firebolt?
Yes.
Okay. Why did I think I had firebolt? I don't have firebolt. What game are you playing? Never mind.
Did you think you were Brunin?
What were you trying to do, Zara?
Just cast a firebolt.
Oh
That
no,
was the only
it's
time I had that.
it's fireball. Watch. Brunin casts fireball at the creature.
There's civilians in there.
Forget
What are
about
you doing?
Oh shit! As the fireball is.
Okay. All right. Okay. Roll. Just they have to make a deck save.
I'm doing it at the lowest possible level.
The third.
Yeah, which is 3rd level.
Oh, this
So-
thing.
Dude, this man's gonna get vaporized.
8d6.
Okay. Hold on. Let me clear out this combat tracker to make room.
Oh, so I can't explode civilians, but Brunin can.
No, Bruno
Hold on,
can't.
no, just,
I was.
just
It's like a shield. The thing is a shield on its back. It's gonna block some of the heat.
okay. Has to make a deck save.
Yes.
Nat 1. Roll damage.
Okay.
And the other one, I'll get the other one as well. The other one's an 11. So they both fail, I think. So go ahead, roll.
All right.
Now, are you, and again, you just fire this straight at the center, or you try to radius it?
Try to radius it.
Okay.
Yeah. So radius it. 29 damage.
Okay. With that, let me just check. Okay. As you see the piece of metal that is just on top of this guy just scatter and break apart. With that, you see the other creature turns at this, sees you. Because now there's no point in saying stealth check. 29 points. Hold on. Turns
So
to you.
the one is dead, seemingly, right? The one.
Yeah,
that,
one that was on the creature's back is absolutely dead for sure. Just like disintegrated, and fortunately was just providing enough cover from the heat to avoid incinerating the person beneath as well. That being said, well, I need you guys to roll initiative.
Man.
Oh shit! I'm sorry, guys. I was just trying to show Zer. God.
I know how to do that one.
22.
You watched me do that spell.
21.
All right, hold on. Let me clear some of these other guys out of the tracker too. 21 for Adraxa.
So what happened to the guy that was getting attacked?
Guy getting attacked.
Uh-huh.
As far as you know, he's just like lying on the ground, like looking panicked. Okay. And Zara, what'd you get?
12.
12?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so he's dead. I'm gonna just delete him from the thing. Theater of the Mind, I don't have the map ready for this one, so we'll just...
All good.
I'm here for it.
Cool. So, the creature turns, and what you see now is a bit of metal kind of obliterated around most of it, where the black armor, which as you look at it, make a perception check, one of you. Actually, I'll say Brunin, because you're first up.
Ooh, nat 20.
Nice.
Okay.
Never roll that.
What you immediately recognize is that this is salvage scrap. This was once a living person. What you now see is that the creature that was on the person's back was trying to latch on and is actually looking at this dead body standing like held up in front of you, almost like a marionette holding it. You recognize that the armor being worn roughly corresponds to what you saw that steampunkish looking Krillbot thing. So what you can gather is that those things climbing onto the back are trying to turn people, living people, into salvage scrap, into these undead soldiers. So you're up. Act quickly.
Me. So I'm for Brunin's first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm dead, you say.
What would Brunin do? Brunin looks a little panicked, like he's not quite sure. So this creature that's staring at us, it looks like it's a kind of half humanoid, half...
Oh no, it was a humanoid. So what you can tell looking at the burnt parts of the face with a nat 20 is that this looks to have once been elvish. Long hair, scarred face, like just like underneath a bit of helmet that's blown off. You can just, there's like almost like a quarter right here. You can see there's just a gash cut like deep beneath the eye, and like kind of like a bit of the teeth exposed where the lip once was. And just looks like they suffered a terrible wound, and can't quite make out can't tell whether it's Flahelgen, Fergandali, or what looks to be somewhat decomposed. Not terribly hard to tell.
So Brunin's going to cast Shatter.
Okay.
Loud ringing sound rings out. I'm going to cast it at 3rd level, so con save on the creature's part.
Is the guy that was attacking also in that
6.
cone? I'm assuming so.
Oh no, are they right next to each other?
I'd say, okay, for the sake of making this simple, I'll say that, as soon as the thing was off his back, the innocent bystander scrambled the fuck out. Okay.
Because the one that was on the commoner that was being attacked, he like he's not being attacked by this other creature now,
No,
right?
that other creature is dead.
Yeah.
The bystander, almost victim, scrambled away.
Yeah. All right. What did he roll for his con save?
6. So
6.
full damage.
All right. So 4d8. So. Bounced off. 13 thunder damage.
Okay, 13.
Thunder damage. Nice.
And this is a totally organic creature, right? There's no.
No.
Oh, it doesn't matter anyhow. Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay, bringing us up to Adraxa.
Yeah.
I round on Brunin angrily.
We have a mission. Do not get distracted.
A close distance between me and this thing.
Okay.
I will rage, and then try and hit it with my axe. With a reckless attack. Sorry, I have a couple new skills, and I might forget, but I'm gonna try and call it ahead of time. You know how it goes. Alright, okay. Where's my thing? Not that one. You. 20 to hit.
Okay. Yeah, that'll hit. That'll do it. Go ahead.
Alright. 4 plus my raging is 11. Alright, because it hit, I am going to use 11. My brand new shiny divine smite.
Okay.
It's gonna be awesome. Which ones are the 8s? You? So 11 plus 13. So 11 points of slashing damage and 13 points of radiant damage.
How do you want to do this?
Nice.
I want to like undercut it and just cleave it, like from underneath to send it like launching back into the market.
Hey, as you do me a favor, make a stealth check.
Okay.
A disadvantage because of the obvious reckless
Sure.
attack and big show.
They're both the same. 11.
Okay. Okay. There's just a moment of recognition in his eyes as he looks at you, and then you send his body flying, cleaved open. Okay.
Oh no. They're fucking Legion, you guys. They all see everything. And they just saw me.
Okay.
Fuck.
Okay.
Wait. Bruin turns to Adraxa. You mean they all communicate with each other? They all see the same thing that the other sees.
That's what they said. Whatever one sees, they all see. And
So
that one saw me. They all know that I'm here. They all know that you're here.
This is no time. We have to keep moving now.
He's right. Let's go.
You keep running.
I sock Brunin
Not
on the arm for casting a
20
fireball.
feet away, you barely take any more steps before another one of these massive pods drops down. You see 2 more come out. Another Krillbot. Sorry. Actually, I'm sorry. It'll be. Yeah, let me get the one we had. Okay.
do we know, Matt the DM,
Yep.
does Brunin know, based on what he's found out about these creatures, that they are, like, for kind of out of character, like Borg, like, do they?
Yeah. You would kind of be able to survive. I mean, like, what you can tell is, like, you saw the one brought into the council chamber, so you saw it. They explained it pretty well. That, like, yeah, these were soldiers and people who were killed by the First Legion, and then they've started using them, like, this disgusting, like, necromantic thing to actually use people like meat puppets as fodder for the army.
Mm-hmm,
So these are what this is. Probably this is the first wave, and it's meant to scare the inhabitants of the town to show this is what's coming for you. This is what will become of you and the people you love.
Got
And
it.
not only that, but these are what's coming after you.
Okay.
So, there's screams throughout the city at this point. As you can tell that the army of Emperor is trying their best to hold them back and doing a good job of it. But there are still some coming through. Okay. At this point, it's Jasper's turn. He's going to throw a spear at the salvage scrap that he sees. Well, it shouldn't have hit it. Hold on. It's a miss. All right. Then, Zara, you're up.
All right. So is it
you see two of the salvage scrap soldiers, and one of the krillbots like flying, hovering just above, almost like a dragonfly.
Okay, so I'm gonna take I want to cast Sacred Flame at one of the soldiers.
Okay.
So it's a dexterity saving throw. 16.
Okay. 1 second. Dex. 5. So yeah, just immediately hits it.
Wow, I rolled terribly. 13 radiant damage. I rolled 2 1s.
Those dice should feel bad.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad. Every bit counts. You're fine. Okay. Okay.
I guess I could also I saw my bonus action. Cast a little sneaky spiritual weapon at 2nd level. And take a swing at the dragonfly krillbot guy.
So I'll say a scimitar pops out because your glaive is for your full-on badass one.
Yeah.
All right.
That is a 9 to hit. I've rolled a natural 1 again.
Neat.
Very good at this.
Okay.
I rock at this game.
Yeah, unfortunately the 9 misses.
Yeah.
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 It's just not, for one thing, when the scimitar pops out, you note that it has the same glowing edge that was on your skin, and it kind of like throws you off, and you're like, it's kind of a bit of a blur, so you miss. All right, that's going to bring us to the Krillbot. Now it's going to. Okay, first off, I need all of you guys to make a 10 dexterity saving throw.
For something we can see.
24.
Exactly
It's a cone effect, so it's an area of effect attack. And I'm sorry, what would you guys make?
7.
24.
10.
10. So if it meets, it beats. So you guys are all good.
No, I failed it.
You take 1d8 damage. Whoever you guys all. Oh, okay. You take. 1 second. You take. Oh, so Adrax, you take. Oh yeah, it's just gonna be 1d8. All right, so 5 points to Adraxa, and I think it's 3 points to the rest of you.
Rounded up, so 3 points of damage.
Yeah.
And what was that?
Yeah, what hit us?
I'm sorry. As the Krillbot kind of like flying, you see there's this immediate blast of steam that comes out and just scalds you a bit. It's almost like hits you and like waters your eyes and starts to burn a bit. Like almost like, you know, you go on like a trip and then you step into the shower before checking the temperature and it just immediately turns hot. Pretty much that happened. Just up next, one of the soldiers, this kind of like hulking brutish thing that's already been hit with a sacred flame, steps forward. He raises what looks like a crude scimitar, and he's going to try to attack you, Brunin.
Of course he is.
All right, and that's a hit. We rolled a 15.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was joking.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't want to assume off the fantasy grounds anymore because I can't remember. So, all right, that's going to be 7 points of slashing damage.
Okay. Yeah, that is. All right. Oh, God. Ow. Ow.
All right, the next one is going to try. Is actually going to look at you, Adraxa. Just says, "Flow, Helkian."
not anymore.
What are you doing? Yeah.
What are you doing here?
And just shoot this, like, you don't see a reaction, just this, like, kind of, like, exposed bottom lip and everything. You can see that this one looks to be in a fairly advanced state of decay.
Did it used to be an
goes-
orc, a human?
Orcish. So the tusks are kind of, like, protruding a bit, and you can see not a terribly big orc, so it could be a half orc, but no one you recognize. Tries to swing at you, misses. 9. Alright. Bringing us back to Brunin.
So Brunan's going to try something here. I'm going to try it, and then you tell me if it works or not, Matt. So Brunin, based on what Brunin knows about these creatures, about tell me one other thing. So there's the little like shrimp-looking guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then there's the like the half-human creature. Are they all connected in that Borg-like way? Like including the shrimp creature, or is it just the human?
All you've heard is mostly that what one sees, they all see. That's kind of the expression that you've heard, but you don't necessarily understand how or what it means.
Including this like little shrimp creature.
Yeah. At this point in time, you don't understand. It's not like that there's one central thing here that's localized controlling what they see.
Mm-hmm.
As far as you know, what you know is that there's a rank structure that controls. You don't know if there's one of these that outranks the other. You don't know enough about the First Legion.
Yeah. So Brunin is starting with the little shrimp creature, or the Koribot or whatever. I'm going to cast Command. So first level enchantment.
Yeah.
So basically, I speak a one-word command to a creature you can see within range. Target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or follow the command on its next turn.
Yeah.
No effect if they're undead. This creature's not undead, right?
Not the Crowbot, no.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, 1 second. Just gonna roll d20 because it's a 0 for the mod. 17.
All right, yeah. So they saved.
So it's like you're trying to reach out and figure out how to like control and reach out to this thing, but as you do, it's like there's this sort of sharp. You feel this sort of sharp, immediate rejection in your mind that just hits you back, and that's harder to crack than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Yep. Brunin's going to look for anywhere he can like dive behind to try to take cover.
Do me a favor before you do. Make a stealth check.
Stealth check.
Yes, please.
8.
Okay. As the Crowbot just like kind of like looks at you for a moment, and you could swear you thought you saw something click in its iris. Now, up next, Adraxa.
All right. Deeply unnerved by the former half-orc, so I will make a reckless attack against him. Oh, that's garbage. 16 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Cool. Is this considered undead?
Yes.
Excellent. 7, 11, plus 3. Oh, just a second. Okay, so I love this multi-class so much. Hang on. Alright, 14 points of slashing damage and 17 points of radiant damage.
So hold on. 31 total, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As you strike the there's a moment as you strike the this half-orc, as you feel this sort of warmth in you, like this sort of different than the rush of blood as you're raging that you've always felt. This is something that comes not as like like this like sort of slack loosening of your mind's control over your body. No, you're still feeling that, but there's conviction here. There's a sense of setting things right. It's almost like you're raging, but there's a lucidity to what you're doing. Okay.
Is it still standing?
Still standing, but definitely as he like falters back a bit.
Great. Then for my extra attack, I'll try and take him down. 21 to hit.
Yeah, go ahead, roll damage.
All right. Oh, I get to re-roll that, you guys. It's a 2 and I get to re-roll it because paladin shit. Hang on.
Oh shit.
I know.
Matt's currently recalculating like the difficulty in Kobold Fight Club.
Yeah.
Like
I re-rolled it for a fucking 12, so 16 points of slashing damage.
Nice.
okay.
All right.
How do you want to do this?
Right, so as I cleave into him, I lock eyes with him, and I say,
You told the rest of the First Legion that Higurishell is under the protection of the Mates of Fate.
and I take his head off.
Right. As you're taking his head off, says he looks at you and says, Flohelgian, what? And as you like cut off his head without missing a beat, the other Flohelgian soldier picks up the sentence. Would you betray your people, Flohelgian?
So disturbing.
That's awesome.
So disturbing.
Third Legion.
Oh, present day Drax is in trouble.
All right. With that, bringing us to Jasper. So hold on. Let me first off kill that. 1, 2, 3.
Also, I am now out of
Smitey Smites.
yeah, I'm all out of Smitey Smites, but man, it was fun while it lasted. I still
Alright.
got my re-rolly roll, so that's something.
Jasper is going to try to attack the other soldier. It's a hit.
Attaboy.
Yum.
Get out of here, you fucking creep! And he stabs him. Just 3 damage. Alright. Up next, Zara.
Okay, so I'm going to take a swing with my spiritual weapon at the Krill bot still alive, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Crowbot's untouched.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry, how much damage it should have taken? No, you didn't do Fireball or anything, right? That was the last round.
That was
Or
complicated.
the first set of enemies.
Alright, so I'm gonna swing at it again with the spiritual. That was damage, ignore that. A hit first, please.
Yes, please.
Rolled a 4. 12! Does a 12 hit it?
Well,
Please, sir. Does a 12 hit?
the Crowbot,
Rolled a 4.
sorry, 1 second, I just lost the damn thing. A 12 does hit, yes.
Oh!
As
Okay,
this thing
then I
is
do 11
jittery and all
damage.
that, but not. How much damage? 11?
11 force.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay. As it kind of like hits it, and you see it like its wing, or not even, it doesn't have wings, but it like sort of like, it seems like it's sort of off balance. Like someone just smacked a drone. Alright.
And now it's time for Spirit Guardians. So everything within 15 feet of me, which hopefully is everything, or I'm going to move myself so it's everything, needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Yay.
Do we?
No.
Great.
No,
You're my
it's-
allies.
Alright, so a straight 20 for this one.
Dang, okay.
Nat 1 for the Krill bot. And a 10 for the
Okay.
salvage scrap.
So if they fail, they're taking 19 radiant damage. If they succeed, they're taking half.
19? Alright.
And this
Both
bad boy
fail.
will stay up
So
for
the
10
Krillbot is dead. with
Woo!
that. So how do you want to do it?
Nice.
I mean, this thing is I'm just kind of imagining it's got like a lot of whirring pieces and a lot of kind of like holes inside of it. So I just want like all of my little spirit guardians to like kind of find their way in and then break their way out.
Nice.
What are your spirit guardians like? Again, little ferrets, right?
Yeah, a little weasel. Like a cute thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Kestrel
They kind of like they swirl up to it and kind of like sniff it for a bit and like looking at like it's something to play with, and then there's a moment later while you know the light around it goes dark, and then you just see this like shake and then a burst. Actually, as it bursts though, I need you guys to make a dex save.
Oh man!
You did fireball before, you weren't so close last time, so.
Nice. Dirty 20.
Actually, yeah, dirty 20. All right, you're good.
11.
Good.
7.
I don't think it'll matter because yeah, so you guys would take 7 points of fire damage.
Oh, that's nice.
So
That's after
you're
the
fine.
save.
No, I think that you're fine. I think it's only if you're it's you make a save or take damage, so you're fine.
Okay.
Zara takes 7 fire damage, but you are a tiefling, so
I am taking 3 instead.
yeah. All right.
This is fun. I love TNT.
All right. Bring us to the last remaining piece of salvage scrap, which is going to attack you, Adraxa.
Good.
With advantage.
Yes.
Okay. That's going to be same thing for both. 12 misses.
Does not hit.
As it, tries to it goes to strike you, and you just like raise your sword against it. And there's that kind of like moment where it's like crossing blades with you, looks you close in the eye. Sergeant. Under Frostwolf. This brings us back up to Brunin.
So Brunan's trying to hide behind. Is he like behind a crate or something, or what's he?
Yes.
Yeah. So Brunan's like after trying to command the koi bot, trying to like get his shit together, eyes closed, taking deep breaths, pulls out his Blissbringer, gets up and charges at the one guy with the Blissbringer. Just gonna do a slashing attack at him with the Blissbringer.
Okay.
So 10.
10. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think 10 misses. It just you flank against the armor on the back, the control bot, and it just hits the plate.
Yeah.
It glances off.
So now I'm next to him. That's great. Okay.
All right. Brings us to Adraxa.
Okay. I will make another reckless attack. Is it just the one left?
Yeah.
It's taunting me. I'm a little bit unnerved because it just identified my old commanding officer.
Is it perhaps flanked because I'm next to it too?
Yes, it is.
Thanks. Well, it'll be reckless.
Although actually, you're flanking it, Brunin. So you should have had advantage actually on that last attack if you want to roll again.
Why?
I'll let Brunin do that first.
Oh, yeah. Do it, Brunin.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, one more time because I should have remember that, but we don't have a map, so it wouldn't have.
Are you kidding? Got a 10 again.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right.
That halfling luck.
Yeah. Oh, I have halfling luck. Wait.
Only for ones, not for
I
tens.
never use
not for
it.
tens.
I never use it. Ugh. All right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no. So, Adraxa, you're up though. Go ahead.
It just feels extra bad to follow Mike when Mike misses because I got a 26 to hit. I'm sorry, man. I'm a barbarian. I'm sorry. I'm not good at the other stuff.
All right. Yeah. So 26 definitely hits. Go ahead. Roll damage.
All right. 11 plus my 3, so 14 points of slashing damage for my first attack.
Okay.
How's he looking?
Looking okay.
I'm not. Alright, I will swing away again. 22 to hit.
Yeah, hits.
Right, 4... 13 plus 3... 16 points of slashing.
Okay. Okay, he's looking much more hurt.
All right. I don't say a word to respond to him because I'm so freaked out by him summoning Frostwolf. So I'll just like circle around, make sure Brunan's on the opposite side of him from me, so we keep flanking.
Jasper's up. He is going to try and stab the thing as well. That's a hit. Nice. 5 points of damage. Looking extremely hurt as the thing takes the spear through the side.
How do you want to do this? No?
No one asked me.
Just
Yeah, no. Zera. Alright, you're up.
Oh, so I guess more Spirit Guardians damage happens.
Oh, yeah, so, okay, so it's a wisdom save or else they take damage, or wisdom or half?
Wisdom or half.
Okay. Yeah, 9, so roll damage.
Alright. That is 12 radiant damage. Not a great roll. I rolled a
How
1,
do you want to
2,
do this?
3, and a 6.
Yeah.
Ooh! I mean, I'm kind of imagining going for like a similar tactic of getting in the like mechanical pieces and then just like trying to like pop it off of this dead person.
Yeah. Yeah, just like, so this time the ferrets go and they're like clawing and scratching at the armor, and this, person is, just trying to swipe at them, but his hand's going through the spectral forms of these spirit guardians, and then they manage to pry off the crowbot, and as soon as it does happen, you see this creature just, fall limp, and it does, and then there's a moment when you see the armor itself is like, there's little, almost like undulating like little steel, almost looks like a horseshoe crab underneath, right? Like these little legs that are kind of like undulating, trying to reach for something. And then the spirit guardians climb through and tear it in half, like breaking open a lobster's tail.
So gross.
It falls to the ground. Dead. Jasper looks. Again, you have to keep moving.
Let's go.
There's more fires.
No more fireballs at civilians, Brunin. Let's move.
Another explosion above. You can see the you running up to the place where you, Brunin, you saw the big crowd of people. There's other guards yelling. Jasper calling out, "We need to see the council immediately!" And then you say, "All right!" They yell at this. You hear another shout from one of the rooftops. "We can't stop it!" This massive strikes the council chambers, knocking off a corner of the marble at the entrance. Rolls onto the steps. This sort of brass sphere. From it, you see almost like seeing... Oh, I don't know how to put this. The closest thing to describe it would be if you'd ever seen pulling up a crab trap or something, and you see a bunch of them all scuttling off of something at the same time.
So gross. They're so scary.
You see something different. 1 second. So, what you see this time, 1 second, to show you kind of the closest to what it looks like. I have an image, if you bear with me just one moment. I'm just going to drop it in the chat, if that's okay?
Yeah. Now I know how to do
Okay.
it. Kind of. Oh, I don't want it to be that, Matt, because that's scary too.
You see these little things piling out of the this kind of like sphere thing that when they step off of climb off of this sphere, these four creatures, almost like one at each hemisphere. You can see there's now there's just like this sort of like brass skeleton, like shape, almost like a cross of brass where they were clinging to, whatever that structure was. Some other circuitry and things on it. You can't quite make sense of it. All right.
How big
up
is
first, Brunin. What, the thing?
Yeah.
About the size of a man on all fours.
Fuck.
Okay. Brunet's going to try his thing again, which he is going to try to cast Command.
Okay.
How many of these creatures are there? How many?
4.
4. He's going to try to cast Command.
Okay.
So Wisdom saving throw.
On just one of them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. 13.
Okay. So he fails. So Brunin just betray. One word command.
Okay. One of them.
They have to follow the command on the
Jeez.
next turn. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Up next, Adraxa.
And my intention there, you're the DM,
Yeah.
but considering they're Borg-like, my hope, Brunin's hope, was that it would, commanding one would command all.
Interesting.
Yeah. Adraxa, you're up.
Oh, he's not even gonna tell you. Oh, fuck.
I know.
We just have to wait. All right. There's 4 of them, right?
Yes.
And are they between us and the entrance to the council chambers?
3 of them are. One of them is kind of off to the side, I would say. 3 of them are on the steps leading up to the council chambers. One of them is on the ground closer to you, but to the right.
All right. Are they kind of like grouped together? Or they spread out a little bit.
The 3 that are on the steps are close to each other, but the one that fell off, like kind of like the ball was on the steps, and 3 of them were like jumped off onto the back towards the council chambers and are barking at the dogs or at the guards there, more or less, right? The one kind of clambered down and is like now like kind of like standing there, but that's the one that Brunin just yelled betray to.
All right. So I will run towards the closest one as long as it's not the one Brunin just yelled at.
Okay, so you run up the stairs to go and attack one of the 3.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll burn another rage because my last one wore off. This time I'm going to make a frenzy attack. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to go into a frenzy and make a reckless attack at this guy. I love being high level, but God, there's so much shit we can do and to keep track of now. This is awesome.
Yup.
That one. I'm not going to do that one. That's better. 27 to hit.
Yeah. It's
All right, good. That'll be 14 plus 3, 17 points of slashing damage.
yeah.
And second swing will be 26 to hit
Yeah.
for 13 points of slashing damage.
Okay. Holy shit. Wait. All right.
Yeah, that'll be it. And
All right.
I'll just put myself in a good position for someone else to flank if they want to.
All right. With that, the brass hound that you had issued the command to kind of like stands, like looks up for a minute and then turns towards the other that Adraxa just attacked it leaps onto the brass kind of sphere and starts digging in and starts tearing at something, biting. It actually is going to take a shock. 14 points of damage as the sphere retaliates. Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, she would
Jasper's
do that,
up.
but good to know.
Keeping a distance, he's going to try and throw one at the same one you're attacking. It's a miss. All right, Zara, you're up.
All right. How long did it take us to get here from the last fight?
Probably about another 2 minutes of running.
Great. So Spirit Guardian damage for all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so wisdom saves on all round.
Yep.
Is it okay if I just do one for all?
Yeah, that's fine.
Unless,
We're all the same
unless it
creature,
passes.
so-
3.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
3. So
another
they all take full
terrible roll.
damage.
Which is 11. I rolled 2 1s.
What was it?
11 radiant damage.
11 radiant. Okay. Every bit counts.
And then whichever
second.
one... Is there one that looks... no, I'll just pick randomly one of the ones that are between us and the council chamber. That's not the one Mike charmed and cast Sacred Flame on it.
Okay.
Which is a dex save for 16. I can't
19.
hit the 19. Okay, so
Yeah.
it takes no damage.
Yeah. All right. Up next, the first brass hound is going to attack you, Adraxa,
Good.
and
With advantage.
give. Yes. 1 second. All right.
I say good like I'm not still bleeding from the face. Just
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to be a 20.
That'll hit.
Yep. All right.
Don't show weakness.
Okay. You take 8 points of damage. Okay. As it's as it bites down and you feel this heat emanating from it as each one of its teeth actually injects this sort of like it bites you and the crushing force hurts, but then there's also this feeling of heat that just is instant and burning, just searing hot, like almost like being bit with a piece of iron from a hot stove. The next one comes, does the same. $22.
That'll hit.
12 points.
Yeah, look a little hurt.
The next one does the same.
Here we go. Fucking pack tactics.
23.
That'll hit.
$11.
Adraxa's looking gravely wounded.
Okay. Bring us to Brunin. Actually, at this point, before it does get to your turn, I'd say there's a volley, so they have to all make dex saves. Or roll for once for all of them. 19, so they dodge out of the way as a series of firebolts comes just launched from the rooftops around the council chambers, but to no avail as these things just start, dodging left and right and just leaping on Adraxa, tearing and biting. Okay, you're up.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Or how close are the one creature is digging into that orb thing, right?
Yes, the one that you commanded.
The other three, how close are they to each other?
They're all attacking Adraxa right now.
So they're all within
1,
10
2,
to 15 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Send her fireball on me. I can take it.
Can't do that.
Like you can. It's fine. I'm fine. Do it.
She does not look fine, right?
I'll get back up again. My new god loves me. It's fine.
Grievously wounded.
Yeah.
I have 9 hit points. It's fine.
Shit.
I'm an orc. Do it.
I got you. I got a plan for Adraxa.
I'm glad one of us does.
Yeah. Okay. Brunin is going to. All right. I'm sorry, Adraxa. Brunin's going to give Bardic Inspiration to Adraxa as a bonus action, first of all.
Thank you. I'm inspired.
Brunin is going to cast Thunder Wave to hit all 3 of the creatures that are right next to Adraxa. He goes, Adraxa, get down! And so the 3 of them have to make Constitution saving throws, and as does Adraxa, but she gets advantage, or no, she gets plus
Bardic Inspiration.
Plus Bardic Inspiration, yeah.
I'm gonna save that for my death saving throw, but thank you.
All right.
You also know it's coming now, right? Do you get advantage on it?
Oh yeah, because it's
a
a danger. I would say yes because it's a threat you are aware of. And Brunin's reckless as shit spellcasting is something you should very well be aware of by now. So yeah, I'll allow it.
Thank God, nat 20.
All right.
Nice.
So 27.
So as soon as you hear this, you drop prone. I'll say that. You are prone. Okay.
That's my movement next turn. Got it.
Got it. All right. And yeah, they have to make a dex save?
Con save.
Or con save. Okay. 11.
Okay, so they fail. So it will be 2, 3, 4. So 4d8 thunder damage.
Go ahead, roll damage.
Okay, 4d8.
Is it half if you save, I presume?
They failed.
4d8
Right? Didn't they
thunder
fail?
damage. They failed.
But I
They failed.
saved.
Oh, that is a good one. So
More than 18?
23 thunder damage, and they're all pushed 10 feet away from me.
Okay. 23 for all of them? Alright, so... Holy shit.
Alright, am I taking half damage? I presume yes, that's fair.
Yes, half damage, yeah.
23.
Are you raging now?
Yeah?
Alright.
Okay, so
What's the phrase? Ask for
Oh,
forgiveness,
shit, you should
don't
have been
ask for
taking half
permission.
damage all along, by the way, on those. From raging. On those bites, right? Wow, that would have been weird, because it was piercing plus fire damage for those.
Yeah, it's alright. I'll take it.
Yeah, alright.
So basically, that drops Adraxa. So, like, she does briefly go unconscious and then, like, gets to one knee and goes,
I didn't hear no
orchestra-
bell.
Love it. Alright. Yeah, alright, so the first one that had leaped on Adraxa, is dead. As a thunder wave just centered on that, sends just almost like someone had a full box full of like screws and bolts and brass and just threw it up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2 are looking very, very hurt as well. The one that was climbing onto the we'll call it the bulwark, right? The sphere.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. It wasn't not affected.
Yeah.
All right, Adraxa, you're up.
alright, Drexel, like, groggily climbed to her feet. She's just a fucking wreck. She's got one.
Help me understand. How are you still alive? I thought you had 9 hit points, but you got...
Yeah, I'm a half-orc. I have something called Relentless Endurance. Thank you. I've never gotten to use it before. So I dropped to 0 hit points, and I was like, nope, fuck that. I'm not dying today. And I choose to have 1 hit point. I'm just too angry to stay down. So I use all of my movement to, like, climb to my feet, kind of stunned, and then, like, hobble over them and take an attack at the one that looks most damaged.
All right.
Reckless, because fuck it, I'm gonna die anyway.
Okay.
Going down swinging. Alright, 24 to hit.
Yeah, hits.
Nice.
I'm in a frenzy now, by the way, so
Yeah.
buckle up, everybody. Alright, so that's 5 plus 9 plus 3, so that's 12 points of slashing damage for the first one.
How do you want to do this?
I'm just like fucking exhausted. Like I just kind of like weakly like sweep it to the side to make room for me to hit the next one. Just,
all right, kind of like the Boston Dynamics dog is what this thing looks like. And you just like cut its legs off from under it and just falls down and does this pathetic sort of like trying to whir, and then the legs grind. All right.
I don't even have it. In right
Sound
now.
of dying servos.
Alright, for the second attack. Alright. Both 14s. 22 to hit.
2 to hit.
So that'll be 14 points of
It's-
slashing on the next one.
How do you want to do this?
Same one. I sweep it in the other direction. I'm like, who's next?
Just like, yeah, the things thought they had you killed, and anyone else they would have, but and like some of the guards nearby are like alarmed and everything, as you just like someone, you know, mowing their lawn with a scythe or something. You're just cutting down these brass pounds.
They're
All
just
right.
simply
And
built
this-
different.
For my extra frenzied attack, there is one left, right? That Brunin doesn't
In
have charmed.
that now you see this thing shake off the command and then like turn towards Brunin, and it's the metal on its face actually like opens up as you see it getting ready to launch this.
Alright.
You know, there's just like this spark as you see this. It's ready to attack.
Alright, let's see if I can hit this fucker with my reckless. 25 to hit.
Wow.
25 to hit.
Alright, so that's 9.
Yeah, that'll hit. Roll damage.
So that'll be 13 points of slashing damage to that one.
All right.
And I'll say,
You tell Frostwood I'll deal with him later.
All right. This one, as you see this, it's almost enough as you clank into its neck and everything, it throws it off kilter. So with that, you know, kind of like striking it from the side, it's not able to get you in the blast, but it is able to fire a shot, you know, fire at Brunin.
You're
Sarah,
benevolent
Jasper.
God. He's so kind to me.
No, I'm just thinking in terms of how I'm picturing the battle going and like where everyone's positioned.
Kick him
So.
sideways.
Yeah. Now I need Zara and Brunin and Jasper. I'll do it for him, obviously. To make a dex save, please. 12, at least.
11.
12 exactly! Finally.
Okay, so Zara, you take half, and Jasper will be. Let me see. Okay, he might not be enough either way. Okay. 22 points.
And is it
fire
fire
damage.
as well? So
Fire
I-
damage. So, but yeah,
so I
half
get
of
to have
that.
it twice. So
Yeah,
11,
so-
which is then half to 5.
But yeah, Brunin, you take 22 points.
Okay.
Jasper, unfortunately,
Brunin, how you looking?
Is he
Pretty
down?
hurt. I'm not down, but yeah.
Is Jasper down?
Jasper, unfortunately, caught in the center of the blast, is immolated. Turns and everything, and you just see him fall to the ground, like kind of like you know, trying to writhe. Walks away on fire and everything, unsure what to do, just like terrified. He rips the necklace off his,
Nope.
you know, off of him, collapses to the ground, and just kind of like tosses it aside towards you. Well, towards the group. Okay.
I mean, Zara, you're the designated grown-up.
What? I'm the youngest person here!
Actually, Zara, it's your turn. So,
Okay. Is he dead?
no.
Okay, great.
Close.
I'm gonna cast Master
but-
Wounds.
First off, Spirit Guardians,
Oh yeah, let those little guys do their thing.
which might be enough, actually. Yeah, 10.
Okay, now the goal here is to roll at least average or more. Let's go. I think we did it. 20 points of radiant damage.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That'll do it. All right. How do you want to do this?
Same as before.
Just, yep. All right.
That
So
on the
this one,
inside, burst them out.
kind of like the thing, like starts to like close down its maw that had let out the breath of fire, and the weasels weasel their way in, and kind of like you see like they're just like little like stretching and holding open the hinges, like cool. How does this work? And as they do, the thing's like trying to like close it desperately and starts like panicking, and like you can see there's sort of like this glowing like light and like vapors starting to form, and like there's a short circuit, and then it explodes from inside, shattering just metal everywhere. Cool.
And then for my turn, I'm gonna cast Mass Cure Wounds on the party, plus Jared, plus 2 random people that look like they feel like they could need it. I don't know. We get 6.
So he's dead. Jasper's
Oh,
I
I thought you
said
said
he
he
wasn't
wasn't dead.
dead. No, he fell to the ground burning, is what I said.
Yeah,
Oh.
Matt was talking about the bad guy, I think.
Sorry.
So how much did you heal us for?
That moved on quick.
Yeah.
Let me roll it.
So long,
Guard
Jasper.
who saved your life earlier, by
Yeah,
the way.
well, you know, there's always casualties in war. How many hit points?
Yeah.
Everyone gets 18.
Thank you, gods. All right.
I mean, hadn't you heard of the Mates of Fate? Like, just what happens.
If you're our friend, you're also collateral damage. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
How much do we care about this kid?
Not at all.
Okay, great. I'll
Matt spent the last week developing Jasper as an NPC.
Is he an orphan? Then we don't give a fuck.
Here's the thing
I was
about
really gonna try to save him.
You'll never know. Now you'll never know. Will you?
Yeah.
No, we will, because you'll just put his backstory into the next NPC.
Yeah, probably. All right.
I can still save his life. We bought those diamonds, man.
Don't you
Just-
dare use a diamond on this
Like,
fucking
someone
NPC.
says, hi, my name is Hasper.
Yeah.
Hasper Widowglow.
Yeah.
Happens to be the hook for the next third
No,
of the
stop it.
campaign.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Love it.
I'm gonna run over and grab that the
Grab
necklace
what?
he threw.
gotcha. All right.
And that blew you up.
As you do, there's a moment, the big sphere thing starts to flicker. You see sparks. Some of the guards say, "Careful!" And then there's a sort of clicking noise. You see as it rights itself, and the kind of like the sides of it crack open, unfold into legs, stands up, probably about 7 feet tall or so.
Fucking what?
Oh no.
This boss
and
fight
then-
has a second phase.
Lets out a. You see, there's this point where this kind of like cylinder, almost looks like a mace, rises up out of the top of it, about a foot or so, spans, and then you can see there's kind of another, almost like a Tesla coil, like electric spark
Oh, that's not good.
that glows, and then out of this piercing bluish white light glows out of it up top. From there you can see what looks to be almost like a magical outline of a figure. It approaches. It looks small almost, and then you realize it's actually just that it's approaching.
It's just very small, far away.
Yeah. It looks like it's small, like spectral, almost like comparable in size to your spirit guardians. This little light, and it starts approaching and just growing larger and larger. It approaches, and then as it stands close, you can see the face. Well, if you could call it a face, of the Platinum Compass. The Council of Higurashio is most esteemed for their wisdom, and of course would recognize the appropriate course of action in this scenario is complete and unconditional surrender. Please show compassion for your people. Make the correct choice. You have 1 hour. And then there's a moment as the sphere kind of like, you can see on the side of it. Well, make a perception check.
Does it take 48 radiant damage?
19.
Is this holographic?
No, it does not. No.
Okay, I figured.
24.
13, even with a disadvantage.
24, Adraxa, you notice it. Similar to what you saw on the Krillbot. Little lenses on the front. Rotating kind of like cylinder with a number of like tubes with little glass lenses.
Doing that
There's a
ticking.
moment as the platinum compass turns. Sergeant Stormhammers. Thunderstone Settlement. How are you here? You were deployed to the anomaly. Anomaly. You have 20 minutes, Council.
You said we had an hour.
Anomaly. Anomaly. Messenger attack. 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 There's a moment, and as the thing flickers back into position, then you see the platinum compass. His head is turned furiously towards someone. Looks confused for a moment. As then the metal casing of its head turns back to look at you. Deserters and traitors are punished appropriately for their sins. For their sins. For their sins. For their sins. Repeating again and again. And then there's a moment. Then the broadcast ends. The voice, one more time. 20 minutes.
Just shove my way past it.
Okay. You guys make your way into the council chamber.
Dramatically kicking the doors open.
Okay. What's the meaning of... Adraxa. You hear Warin. Adraxa, I'm so glad you're here. What happened? Where's Suresh?
The First Legion aerial assault has breached the city walls. Calgrassa lives, but he is wounded. He is down. What you sent us to investigate is illithid. They're more powerful than we imagined.
19 minutes.
They were manipulating the rings. They were going absurdly fast. I don't know if they were trying to generate some kind of field, some power. I don't know.
Calgrassa wanted us to find the Arch Scholar to find a way to disable the rings.
They've stopped violently thrashing, but now they're clicking.
Ace You see Ace run down the hall. Warin, what's going on? Where's Suresh?
He lives, but he is wounded. He says the rings on the Tower of Brass, they need to be disabled immediately.
You're wearing his...
Yes.
He's made his decision then.
His vote is for Exodus.
Are you sure? Draxa, that's... They turn and look at each other.
It is not my vote. I am relaying the message.
We understand. Okay. Council, make a decision. Alright.
The First Legion, they've given you 20 minutes to surrender. Don't worry about it. It's fine. We can hold them off.
18 minutes. You hear the voice again from outside. Colbert Renkansen, it storms down. If you want, I can cast silence on that thing so we don't have to hear the bloody racket from that piece of tin. Where's Caressa?
He's hurt.
Oh, great.
The-
I see that the assault has already begun.
They brought our shuttle down on the way here.
Alright, there's not much time. The fleet will try to move over to see if they can bombard where they're launching them from. It's a risk, but we have to leverage the fleet while we can. They'll fly high, try to avoid as much as they can, but it's the best we can do.
How long
Can
will
your army of embers offer support? If they can divert their attention for a moment longer, they might suffer losses, but it'll allow the fleet to bombard them from above.
Right.
At this, Ea Tivara, the Shanasi, kind of like, strides out from one of the side hallways. Lady of Stormhammer.
Will you do this
You
for
agree
us?
with this plan?
Yes.
And it is done. With that, you hear this kind of rush of flame at once. It almost, even from within the building of the council chamber, you hear this heat, or you feel this heat, like baking. You're outside the window, you can see there's this enormous, impossible wall of flame outside the city. We will not be able to hold this very long. I hope that you have a plan. And I hope that it's a damn good one.
How long will it take you to initiate the Exodus protocol?
Colbert looks. First, we have to vote on that matter. Are we certain? Wherein looks and says, well, we didn't come up with the idea for nothing. Alright. I want you to vote on this first. Alright, so they kind of like call out to Rhaelia. And then they also, at this point, you also see them call out to Sunqua, who comes forward. The Gith ambassador you remember from before, now bearing a mantle. It's a familiar looking black cloak and turban. What is the council deliberating on? We apologize, Sunqua. We know that this has been a bit of a rough start to your tenure here. Well, what presses us now? We have to decide whether or not to initiate the Exodus protocol. Alright, and what does it mean? It means that we're abandoning the city. It means we'll never be home here again. Sunqua kind of smiles, puts his hands on the shoulders of Ware and Aspasith, and looks at both of them. You think this would trouble me? You forget that I myself came to your city, a refugee. You welcomed me with open arms, and now I am here to serve your people for the gratitude that you've shown me. I have no fear of leaving again. Neither should you. Trust, have faith. There is goodness in the world, no matter how many harms at our doorsteps. We kind of look. Wherein says, I think we made the right choice. Good. And I hope that my people will be happy when they come to Higgershell. Well, damn, that is a problem, isn't it? Rancanza looks at us. You understand it? Yes. We can't stay in this city at all. No, friend, I'm afraid we can't. The people will move elsewhere then. That is what matters. That is what is important. This Raya says, "What's going on? What are we discussing?" "We're discussing implementing the Exodus Protocol." 15 minutes. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Can anyone shut that thing up? You see Nokrivave, the halfling general, stride past them. "I'm going to shut it up myself. I know how to count." Goes, and then you hear outside, after the door swings closed, you hear this kind of a smashing sound of just almost like a blacksmith really working at an anvil.
That's one way to do it.
A few minutes. 14.
Yeah.
And then you hear this pop, like a light bulb thrown against the ground. Then nothing. She comes back in, wielding this little, kind of short hammer. Well, what's the plan? All in favor? Raya is opposed. We could not abandon this city. This is our people, our culture, our heritage. And then Ace for Sith looks at us. Our people are our culture and heritage. We are light in the darkness, and what we are only will bring that light so long as we are. So long as we are a people. So long as there are Igor.
He is right. If you do not abandon your city, you are abandoning your people.
The rest of them, all in favor? Sunkwa raises his hand, as do Baron, Ace for Sith, Rancanson, and with Daresh's vote, it's nearly unanimous. The vote passes, and they begin to issue orders to Nokrivave and some other adjutants and commanders of the guard and other local council members from the different districts throughout the city, different members of the schools, and you get a sense of this sudden but orchestrated chaos. You hear a bell ringing from the council chambers from the roof. Not this same sort of bell that you would hear, town calls and everything, but this is a very distinct sound. Almost this deep bellowing thing. And it booms again and again. And amidst the sounds of fireballs launching, the whirring gears of these things flying overhead, you get a sense that something terribly big is happening. The long night is starting to perhaps come to a close as the wall of fire, you step out of the council chambers and you can see up above the bellies of what looks like whales in the sky. Ships flying high overhead. Things trying to make their way through the wall of fire launched from far off in the desert, burning on their way. The wall starts to have breaks in it. One by one, some of them slip through. You see fighting on the rooftops, bursts of flame, screams. The army of Embers is taking losses. As are the Higurashili who fight by their side. Kind of blinding whirls of flame and spears. They fight bravely, all of them. The flying contraptions, some of them fly and land on the occasional fallen Genasi even. It makes for a fearsome sight. These glowing soldiers, salvage scrap. You imagine it would probably be about 10 minutes now You're glad you're not hearing that voice, though. Something unnerving. Draxon, make a wisdom check.
Oh boy. 17.
In the midst of all this, you think of your sister. Not Akara, fighting some crazy, mad battle, getting herself killed. You're thinking of the other one that always scoffed at how much you idolized your sister. Thought it was stupid. All this hero worship, she called it. Just mindless. Not really the way that wars should be fought. Maybe caught some hell for it from her dad when he overheard her one time. But you think about Avra. You think about the way she would face this. She would be smart. What would she do? What is she doing now? There's not much time. Weirin comes up to you guys. Well, if they're all going to be leaving soon, so we need to make our way back to the Tower of Brass. Is everything okay there? What happened?
The Illithid?
They're manipulating the rings. I think to bring more in, or...
Are the rings done? Like, what happened with it?
They're still ticking.
They need to be disabled.
There's a switch or a toggle of some sort, they said.
I don't know.
What do you mean they need to be disabled?
Yes.
Ace Pacific? You see Ace Pacific come up. What's going on, Weirin?
The Illithid, they were manipulating the rings on the brass tower.
Manipulating them?
Making them spin faster.
That would... Oh, God.
They react to magical interference. Does that work the other way? Like,
Yes,
by moving the wings,
you
it
could
can
use...
generate... Oh, shit,
Oh.
that's what I was afraid of. That battery thing.
She thinks about it for a moment. You could cause severe disruptions, yes, with the... There's a moment of realization. What did the Illithid have? What were they planning? Do you know?
They were drawn by the battle. The more bodies that fall, the more they could feast.
What I know is that the rings themselves, passively working, detect rifts in time and space and the divine planes or magical forces, but manipulating them the other way would... You could create a rift. Something that powerful, though. If you had a catalyst, you could... My God. You need to stop the rings, and that will jeopardize the entire Exodus. Oh, good.
That's what we're saying.
Tell us
At
what to do.
this, they kind of like... She like yells to Nokravavi. Nokri! Says, what is it, Vegan? Is there... I know that the airs are dangerous. Is there a way to get to the Tower of Brass quickly? Not through the skies. Not while they are firing. It's not safe. Rincanson comes up. I can try and teleport you. Alright. Everyone, to me. He goes and, as he starts marking lines on the floor, Songko comes up and says, what are you doing? So, I'm trying to... You see what I'm trying to do?
We need to get to the Tower of Brass.
Oh. You might want to try and reconfigure this, yeah. And he goes and actually, like, kind of, like, erases some of Rincanson's work and, like, updates the markings. Rincanson kind of, like, kind of like holds his, bites his tongue and everything, and like shoots him like a look of kind of like, he kind of like looks him over like, are you really going to do this now? And then
In front
looks
of my
at
boss.
but then looks at the drawing and then also, shit, he's right. That would be better.
We don't have time to be petty.
Yeah, and then just shakes his head and, thank you. Sunkwa, nods, and then shortly after he, backs away and says, I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there.
While they're doing this exchange, can I ask, what is the Exodus powered by? Is it magical in nature? Is it mechanical? Like, what is that even?
Aesopsith and Rincanson kind of look at each other. Bit of both. Within the cathedral's sand, you have some. We have an artifact. It works remarkably well. You in the tower. We have something. It's beneath the rings, conduit sort of thing. What you will actually end up see is there's a sort of dynamo in the brass tower that it actually is what powers the cathedral to take all its forms that it does. The magical thing is the source of the power, but the dynamo is what gives its well, you'll see. It will lose some of its nature in the process. Rincanson says, the cathedral will be its people, its knowledge. That's what it is, and that's what it will be. We don't need it to be such a wonderful thing that it was. She looks and gives a solemn, kind of like, conciliatory gesture with her face. And
if the dynamo was stronger, could it save more people?
kind of look at each other. They kind of look confused for a moment, and as you can see in their heads, they're both doing calculations of completely different sorts. Cathedral-san, what we know is that it's a multitudinous set of dimensions, more or less, in the way it's currently configured, and the way that you would have it set up is that it is currently constantly collapsing on itself and dynamic, and what we would do is expand it to a rigid form, and from there it would then use something from the brass tower to be
This is a yes or no question. If we
Yes.
could make it stronger, could you save more people?
The rigid form would be larger and we could fit more people, yes.
In that radius. The battery?
Yes.
Burning under
The wall of
access?
fire starts to dissipate.
The battery. Reuse the battery. Cylinder, whatever.
Maybe.
Cylinder? Ace with Sith kind of gives like a glance.
Who has that?
We do.
I mean, yeah.
Someone. I think it's me. I think I have it.
I thought Yellow Reina had it.
You
Right,
see,
or I legend lord it. I don't know who has it right now though.
you see Ryaelia leaving in a coach.
Yeah,
Take a point.
okay, yeah. More lives then, fine.
Right, because I don't remember the exact. This is me as a character. I don't remember exactly what we were trying to use it for initially, but
If you'll all step right inside.
We're going to use it to save the world, not
Points towards
Higuri
the
Shell.
circle.
no, true. Yeah, never mind.
Second.
Hmm.
Wait, sorry, didn't hear that. I had an issue with my headphone.
We're going to use the cylinder to save the world, not just Higuri Shell.
You're right.
Need to focus on the war, not a battle.
Kind of look confused at each other. Well, at any rate. You ready? He begins muttering an incantation, and then soon enough, with a feeling like your stomach is pulled through your feet and then back up the top of your head, you find yourself now standing at the roof of the brass palace, probably thanks to Sunkwa's adjustment, where Ace of Sith. Oh, thank God. Okay. What's going on? You see, like, the rings almost vertical shift There's a moment as you're running past and you see like this slick body of a mind flayer still like collapsed in one of the building corners, cut asunder. And Ace looks and, what happened here?
We almost died. That's what happened here.
All right, I'll do what I can. She runs towards one of the intact buildings on the like southwest corner of the brass tower.
I follow her with my axe drawn because I'm just hoping whatever it is needs to be smashed to disable it.
Bryncanson, calls out to her. I'll head to the cathedral, see if I can prepare it there. She goes, good. And he starts running down the steps of the brass tower, down the northwest corner, trying to find his way out. Okay. Soon enough, you see her trying to make sense of the rings, jammed and broken that they are. This makes sense. Battered, broken, and she's trying to understand it. Looks like there's some kind of strange mechanism planted on top of it. This doesn't look right. What do they do to this?
Do you need us to get that off?
Yes, you look at it, and it looks almost like this sort of glowing blue thing. Almost like a... what do I call it? I don't know. It looks faintly like one of those gross-looking seed pods, only with like these like bluish crystalline, things, slimy looking. Slightly glow like algae.
And is it like on top of one of the rings, or is it circling with the ring?
No. On the now you're like in the corner building, corner of the building where you can see there's this mechanism, this like room-sized mechanism of levers, of pulleys and weights. And make a perception check.
Hey guys, I do have to call it here for me. I won't mess up the stream though, because what I'm gonna do is just put something over my webcam.
Thanks.
And it'll keep it black. Yeah.
So
Thanks,
kind.
Appreciate
All right,
it,
guys.
Thanks for coming.
Sorry.
Man.
Yeah. Thanks. See you guys.
See, Mike.
All right, we'll see.
I got a 10, so.
I also got a 10.
Nice. All right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So you look through, but that's about the only thing you can spot that looks out of place here. As best you can tell, it's a weird-looking contraption that you don't understand. So hard to say.
I'll just smash it. I'll smash it.
Well, no, I'm not sure that that's the best idea.
I've never had a problem that I couldn't fix by smashing.
Wait, can we get rid of this? Oop.
Do you get it?
I looked at Zara like, this is
Oh,
the great idea, right? Like, yeah, no.
Burden kind of like says like, hey, I should.
Things.
I'm looking at Zara. though.
Madraxa, that thing looks gross. Like, it doesn't belong there. I would probably, yeah, I think we're gonna have to cut that thing off.
Oh, okay, slice the thing off. I thought you were talking about the levers. Whew.
He's being Brunin. So. No, I looked at
You
Zara as the grown-up in the group.
All right. Then what should we smash?
Ace that kind of looks. I'm not sure. This is troubling. Do you need to find a way to get this thing off of it?
We could try to burn it off.
Sure, try it.
How sensitive are the things around it? Like,
The rings themselves are sensitive to magic, but these are just the controls. There should be some shielding in here because we need magic to operate it, so we should be fine.
so if I just set a fireball off, we're cool.
I mean, that might damage some of the instruments, though.
Okay.
You're
this
leaving this
vacuuming
place. You
here?
never need these instruments again. Just do it.
No, I think that thing's coming with us.
Is it?
No,
I don't know. Is
no.
it part of the-
You're right. These only control the sensitivity of the rings and everything. We do it. She like starts walking out of the room,
Oh, I definitely smash it with
like
my axe.
grabbing you.
Yeah.
All right, you do that.
Oh yeah. I smashed the fuck out of it with a reckless attack. 27.
Yeah, that hits. Okay, roll damage.
That was only 10 points of slashing damage.
It's enough. It's enough. It's like this one little thing. It hisses as you strike it down, and it just kind of lets out this sort of high-pitched squeaking shriek sound, and then just seems to wither away.
Is there any
She immediately grabs the controls and everything. Says, "That was actually a good hit," and starts to adjust some of the levers and everything, and tries her best to undo some of what was done. But she rolled to see what she does.
Can I give her guidance for this?
As she rolls a nat 1.
Would a
Can I
5
give her
help?
guidance for this?
So you can, but a nat 1's an automatic failure. Especially
Okay.
considering that she's the art scholar and she should know better. Unfortunately, as she tries to control it,
She's too dazzled by my battle prowess.
it wasn't that one so much as the other one above
Oh.
that she didn't notice, and she takes 10 points of psychic damage and is stunned.
Oh,
As she falls to the ground. This psychic wave emanating out from somewhere in the room.
I slap her in the face.
Beacon, keep it together.
She's just, her eyes are rolled back and she's convulsing.
Alright, can I look around and try and figure out where that second attack came from?
Yeah,
Perception? Investigation?
investigation.
Fuck.
I've got an
What
idea.
is it aloud?
12?
It takes time to search. By that point,
I've got an idea. This is probably something true seeing would help with.
Yeah.
I would be able to sense hidden things, ethereal plane things, secret doors, any of that kind of stuff. I should be able to see.
I should tell you that before you do, Adraxa, you find another one of those
Oh, thank God.
things on a box behind. I don't want you to waste a spell slot.
Okay.
Oh,
so-
you're kind. Alright, I'll
Not after I made you guys waste so many on that combat before.
I'll make another reckless attack on the second one for 27 to hit.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
For the sake of brevity, you kill that thing too.
Great.
Okay. Yeah. With another splattering, it shrivels up. Okay.
And do I sense anything moving that wasn't a second ago, or flashing, or did anything change after I did that in the room?
No.
Alright.
Awesome.
Again, it looks like it's just a room with cold steel and everything. You're not sure that there's no instruments or anything that you recognize or understand.
Alright. I'll run back over to the arch scholar and slap her in the face again.
Yeah, she's.
Okay. You trying to wake her up? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. She comes to. Okay.
This is lay on hands.
Yeah. Ah. What happened?
There were two.
Missed one.
Ugh.
You okay? We don't have time. Are you okay?
What do you need to be okay?
At this, there's a moment where there's a silence comes over the city. At the moment that you say we don't have time, you come to this realization: shit. There's a bit of quiet. It's unsettling.
Alright, we
Rings
gotta
have
go.
stopped. And there's this cry. Almost like you hear a sound of a woman crying somewhere in the streets below. Hard to tell from what direction. And then that same unnerving silence. The walls of flame are gone now.
Mm.
In the distance, you see a new gout of flame just flare up over the desert. Massive, massive explosions that rock the sky and earth. Clouds of sand and dirt pluming up skyward. You can see as they reach really high up, You can start to see hints of the sun coming up over the east. Daylight, almost. You see a swarm flying up from far away. Moments later, an explosion rocking the underbelly of these ships high above as the brass fleet is decimated. Aesopist looks off in horror. Right.
Beacon.
Yeah.
Focus. Now.
Yes. Okay. She looks. Tries to make sense of what's happening. Okay. I think we should be able to stop this from causing the problem. Now, I have to undo a bit of what was done. I don't know that this will stop the process they initiated. I don't know.
Is this something that could be dispelled?
No. Sort of.
Already happened.
Have you ever stirred your milk and cream into a cup of tea? When you stir it and stir it, you then try and stop it suddenly. The tea will
call the waves.
Causes a big ripple. The tea's already spinning. If we try to stop it now, it'll only speed it up.
Then you smash the cup.
She kind of like has this moment of confused thought, looks at you strangely, and then smiles. We teach us something in the Iron Vaults. When your enemy goes to strike, you use his force. Pull him in against you. You're right. We let them take the city. We surrender. And kind of looks at you. You like kind of look at her like she's gone a bit mad for a moment. Exodus. It's good work. It's good work.
You give them to each other.
Your army.
Aye.
You need to tell them. You need to tell them to come with us. They'll be lost here. Whatever the Illithid had planned, I think that it won't be safe in the city for them. I don't want them to be trapped here.
Aye.
Some will have to stay. Not them. Some of our soldiers. To create the illusion. Up to the end. Very well. She goes and there's a moment and she's quiet and then she starts speaking, issuing commands. Not to anyone in the room, as it's just you two, or you three. And then you realize she's casting Sending. A moment later, she looks like she's hearing a response. Okay. The general is going to stand her ground to the very end. Progress has already been escorted back to the council chambers and now being told that he has to be carried back across the city to the brass tower of the cathedral. He's not very happy, but he'll be fine. He'll survive. We should make way for the cathedral sand. You ready?
Aye.
Alright.
Spark.
Alright, so you guys begin to depart the Tower of Brass. Looking out across as you now look out towards the east where the sun is starting to rise, you can see falling slowly, kind of like a bit of drag as it lands very, very slowly. You can see the outline of smoking ships, plumes billowing upwards, red. Almost like burgundy red with flame, smoke, black. As they start to get distant pops of explosions as they shatter. Think about the Condor X-12. You think about your path that brought you here. All the while, you wonder now about path that'll take you next. The cathedral. That shifting place. What the hell is going to happen when the Exodus Protocol is initiated? Break the cup. I think that probably is a good place to call it.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Who put us in charge of anything? What a horrible idea.
Yeah, man.
Whew. They
We're
met
just
us?
spitballing the entire time.
What counselor in their right mind would listen to us? Whew.
Well, right mind. So, yeah.
Good
Oh,
game,
man.
Matt. Holy shit. Thank you.
Yeah, that was fun.
Glad
Very
you liked
fun.
it. Could go for like
never-ending
another 6
night.
hours. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Don't get excited. He's not gonna let us sleep.
What? Oh yeah.
The
How many
first
sessions has it been since you took a nap?
is Drefsto's funeral, I believe.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
I don't
Yeah.
know, Zach.
You gave us shit because you were like, oh, you want to take 3 days off? Okay. You can do that.
Now you suffer.
Okay. You can take 3 days off. You can see what happens.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right.
I would like to commend you guys on surviving 3 battles in a row after a mind flayer TPK almost.
We are as surprised as you are.
Yeah.
I was kind of stoked that I got to use my relentless endurance for the first time. That was pretty dope. I hope
Yeah.
I didn't waste it for whatever's coming next. And I extra love that it was Brunin that brought Adraxa down to 0 HP for the first time and not Matt. That was awesome.
Oh god, I love it.
Why do we're always our own biggest problem.
Yeah. That first fight, I'll say this to Mike when he can hear me again. That first fight was entirely avoidable.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
Like,
oh
you
yeah,
guys-
fireball,
Oh, yeah.
did you want to see me do it? It's like this.
Like, yeah, you guys, like, even like the NPC was like ready to fight, and you're like, he's like, we need to focus. He's like, yeah, you're right. And then
What's
Yeah, you guys-
Zero?
got a
Leroy,
case of the fields. Who knows how much
Brunin.
time was wasted? Who knows?
Right.
And again, by the time maybe you would have gotten into the council chambers, and then more guards would have died outside. Then maybe one of the council members would have been in jeopardy because guards wouldn't have been enough to stop those hounds.
Yeah, thank the gods we were there.
Yeah. Hey, is either you going at 0 HP and Jasper dying, or Warren? Who knows?
Oh, stop. You know we like
Not
her.
wearing. No.
Stop it.
You never know.
Never tell the DM you like
Who was
an
the
NPC.
first one? Who was the? No, seriously, you walked into the council chamber. Who was the first one there by the door that you talked to?
Oh, it was Wayren.
Yeah. So, well, anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Thank
Not
you.
allowed to
Appreciate it.
form any more attachments to NPCs. No.
Don't get attached
In the
to
future, I'm
anyone
just
in
gonna-
the city.
I'm just gonna privately love, like, the next NPC, but I won't show that. Like, I'll seem ambivalent. I actually love Jasper. That really hurt.
It was nice.
Oh, and I was like deep spooked when the Borg was like, knew my name, rank, and my neighborhood. Didn't like that. Very
Drax is about to get doxxed by the.
big spooked. Big spooked.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys have any, any spell slots open for sending or scrying or message or anything, that might be worth considering.
Yeah. Luckily, I was blessed with a divine intervention, so I can cast sending once or twice
Well,
before using up all of my spell slots.
who knows? Maybe we can start off next session like that.
Yes,
that's,
please.
That's a good idea. Yeah. All right.
Alright.
Jax is gonna get you to like send to Avra and be like, "Listen, what would you do?" I don't feel
Okay,
good
a
about this.
hypothetical situation. If
Also, I hate you, but also thank you.
Still alive. Yeah. All right.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank
And
you, Maddie.
Good night,
Yeah.
guys. Yep.
Good night, everyone that stopped by. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
It was fun.